Hi, so I'm here today to talk about the top 5 problems with HubSpot. If you're interested in HubSpot, you should know that it's a fantastic platform, but that doesn't mean it's right for everybody, and it doesn't mean it doesn't have its own issues. So let's take a look at the 5 biggest problems that people think about, people worry about, and need to find solutions for. One of the biggest gripes most people with complex businesses have about HubSpot is that it's not flexible enough. It's not customizable enough. And if your business needs a huge amount of customizability, then it probably won't be. So things like Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics have a lot more ability to customize the entire platform to your needs. What you lose in flexibility in HubSpot, you gain in usability. Having used all 3 systems, I can say that HubSpot is a lot easier to use, especially for people on a day-to-day basis once you've got everything set up. But if you need that level of customizability and data built in a way that is very specific to your business, then HubSpot may not be the right platform. One of the things that HubSpot did to address this concern is introduce custom objects. So custom objects are basically a way to build what you need into HubSpot. The existing objects, things like companies, contacts, and deals, have set functionality and can interact with one another, associate with one another. Custom objects do the same thing. You set up what properties you want in that custom object and decide how you associate it with things like contacts and companies. The challenge with custom objects is it's only available on enterprise tier, which means it's only available if you are investing a significant amount of money in HubSpot, which if you were going to be doing a fully customized Dynamics platform, then that's probably not a huge barrier. The other area is that it's done through an API, so you can't just click and drag and create your custom object really, really simply. So you do need some development in order to do that. Again, similarly, you probably would do that if you were creating a custom Dynamics platform. Even so, if you want a completely customized platform, or you want a platform that is built specifically for your industry, there are lots and lots of different CRMs that are built particularly for manufacturing or for retail or for hairdressers or all sorts of different things. HubSpot may or may not give you the functionality that you need, even with custom objects. So you might expect this section to be about pricing in general, but it's actually not the introductory pricing for HubSpot that's a challenge. I know HubSpot has a reputation for being an expensive platform, but the free version is surprisingly full of functionality. And then the starter suite, so that's all of the hubs that have a starter tier option, actually is just £57 a month, which is extremely good value. So what's the problem, and why does HubSpot have a reputation for being expensive? Well, that £57 per month for the starter tier jumps up pretty dramatically when you start to use the professional level HubSpot platform. That actually costs over £1,300 per month, which is a huge increase from 57. So the big problem with HubSpot here is that you can get involved free, you can start from quite a basic level with introductory pricing, but as soon as you want the bigger packages, the price rockets. Now, if we look at what's involved in the professional hubs, you can see why the price is what it is. Things like marketing automation, video hosting, custom reporting, and all sorts of high value features. I mean, the marketing and sales automation are pretty hefty features that can save huge amounts of time. And the reason HubSpot is expensive is because it's worth that. The value is high. But if you're a small business that started out with HubSpot and you started on those lower priced packages, there will come a point where you want to move up to the next level because you're ready from a business perspective, but you may not be quite ready from a financial perspective for that big jump. So that's one of the really big problems that a lot of growing businesses struggle with when it comes to HubSpot. It's a particularly big problem if you're not interested in all of the functionality. Obviously, you can purchase individual hubs. You don't have to go for the full suite, but the marketing hub particularly has that really big ramp up as well. So if you're only using one or two features, it's not worth moving to that professional level. What you should do is move to that professional level and use all of the features. But you obviously need to have been using HubSpot effectively and see the value in the additional functionality in order to be able to justify doing so. So HubSpot's an all-in-one platform, which means you want to be using it as your single source of truth. But one of the concerns that some people have is that the reporting isn't sophisticated enough. There are a lot of ready-made reports in HubSpot. And while those are fantastic, if you are a sales director, for example, those ready-made reports are probably not going to give you everything you need. Now, you can build custom reports once you're on a professional tier, and you can increase your reporting capabilities with the reporting add-on. But there are still some limitations on how you can delve into your data. The data is all there, and you may have the ability to get a data analyst to go through all of the different reports and compile them for you. But that obviously means that you're using a separate system, a spreadsheet, for example, to compile all that data. Dashboards are fantastic, but they do have limitations. And if you want detailed reports, that's not going to fit onto your dashboard. And you will either need to create separate reports or, again, export your information and analyze it separately. The marketing analytics are stronger. HubSpot obviously started as a marketing platform. And so the marketing analytics and reports and dashboards are really, really good. As a sophisticated marketer, you're probably going to want to delve into your Google Analytics and Search Console data as well. That's true in most platforms. You should always be looking at those analytics because they give you different information. Search Console will give you more information about the keywords people are using to find you than any other platform can do. But if you want insane levels of reporting, if you want to really, really dig into your data constantly, then the reporting limitations in HubSpot may be a barrier for you. So let's talk about implementation. One of the things that a lot of people are concerned about with HubSpot is the time and difficulty to implement it properly. So obviously, if you've got a free or starter package, implementation isn't a big area that people think about. It's free and it's quite simple to get set up. But when it comes to Marketing Hub Professional, for example, HubSpot require you to have professional onboarding, either through them or through a HubSpot partner. And the reason for this is there is so much to the Marketing Pro suite that it's impossible to really get the benefit of it if it's not set up correctly. Now, obviously, if that's something that is required at that level, it suggests that even at the smaller levels, even at the lower price tiers, you still need some level of implementation to get the most out of it, especially if you're planning to grow and hope to use the professional or enterprise tiers in the future. So one of the big challenges people have is getting it set up, getting it working, and not doing a piecemeal implementation, which happens a lot. And if you do that kind of piecemeal implementation, you'll find yourself backtracking, having to go and redo certain things, having to update your data because you didn't implement it in a way that's particularly helpful. So implementation, even of the starter and free tiers, should be something that you consider. And so if you're looking for an out-of-the-box CRM, yes, you can do that with HubSpot, but you won't get as much benefit from it. Now, I don't think this is the biggest problem, but it's a problem that a lot of people come to us with. And so having an implementation partner or having a really clear implementation plan We actually have an ebook on CRM implementations that can help get you following the right steps to make sure your implementation is effective. Things like getting buy-in from everybody, getting everyone using the same language and terminology. If you struggle with that, you will probably not get the benefit of any CRM as much as you could. So think about the time that you're willing to invest in implementation and recognize that that's something that will be true for pretty much any CRM you decide to work with. When it comes to the Sales Hub and Marketing Hub, implementation is a much bigger deal. And that's why HubSpot recommend using a partner, so that you're getting expert advice, expert guidance, and all of the mistakes that have already been made, all of that learning built in. Because if you're doing this for the first time, you've never done it before, you'll miss a lot of the functionality, a lot of the opportunity that HubSpot has that influences the price. So if you're not willing to delve into that opportunity and really get the benefit out of it, then yeah, implementing HubSpot might be more challenging than you're interested in, but it's worth doing. Possibly one of the biggest concerns people have when it comes to HubSpot is the worry that they will be locked in for life. You may invest in it and decide it's not for you. What happens then? So once you reach the end of your contract, you can get out of your contract. That's absolutely fine. But what happens to all of the data, everything that you've got stored in HubSpot? That's where people worry about being locked in pretty much to any platform. Migrating CRMs is a challenge. And obviously HubSpot has a ton of functionality that if you move away, you'll lose or have to recreate in a different manner. So if you've got your website hosted on HubSpot, then you obviously need to download all the HTML, but obviously the functionality will be different, will be changed, and things like CTAs won't work. So you'll be able to have the raw HTML, but you'll need to rebuild, and some of your styling will probably need redoing. So there's a lot of areas with the website where you'll need to download and recreate. When it comes to your data, so the data in your CRM, HubSpot has a ton of guides on how to get your data out, but the big challenge is that it takes time. It is not a quick fix. You cannot just click a button and say, export everything in HubSpot and I'll do something else with it. So you need to go through section by section and download things. So the other challenge is with your contact, company and deal records, you can't export the notes you've added. So obviously, if you've been working with a client or a prospect and you've added plenty of notes to their record to explain how things are going, you can't just click a button and export all of those notes and associate them with your contact records once you've exported the rest of the contact details. You can work with an API to get some of that data back out. That obviously requires a developer to set up the API. And so it's not a quick and simple thing to do. Everything else is extractable. You can even download a list of your workflows and what they do. Obviously, you won't have the functionality to run those workflows, and you'd need to recreate them in whatever platform you're going to. So yes, leaving can be a challenge. The more embedded you are with the system, the more challenging it will be to leave. It's possible. It's just very time consuming. So what do we conclude from this? Well, HubSpot is a fantastic platform. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we are a HubSpot partner, but we're also realists and we're honest. So HubSpot is not right for every single business. It's not perfect, and there are some businesses for whom it is the wrong option. And you need to be aware of that and work out if the limitations or if some of the areas that people have problems with will be problems for you. A lot of the things that I've mentioned in this video are problems for some businesses and not for others. So it's worth doing your research, understanding these problems, and deciding if that's something that you can live with, deciding if those are workarounds that are absolutely fine for you, and deciding if the value of HubSpot outweighs any limitations that it might have for your specific business. For some businesses, those limitations are irrelevant. They don't actually limit the business in any way. For others, they'll be deal breakers. You know which one you are. If you don't know which one you are, then get in touch with a HubSpot partner and ask them to walk you through those specific problems that you're concerned about, because any good partner will be there to tell you and help guide you as to whether or not this is the right thing for you. If any of those problems are deal breakers, then HubSpot's not right for you. There are other platforms. We don't use them because we're a HubSpot partner, but there are other platforms that will be right for you. The main thing is to have a CRM. If you're not using a CRM, you are massively limiting yourself. Do marketing, obviously, and use some kind of sales platform that will give you the information you need and make your sales team more effective.